Hello, hi everyone. In this video, I would like to explain you what is domain separation in ServiceNow. Okay, in the beginning, it's a little bit scary, or when we talk about domain separation, what is it exactly? It sounds a little bit like, how to say, difficult to understand, but it's not that much difficult. So, if you take your personal instance, for example, that you have, the developer instance that you have in R2 for your training purposes, and on your developer instance you can create a domain separation. So you can have a domain A, B, C. So what is that exactly? So you have to imagine your single instance that I'm going to show you. This is mine, and I have here the domain picker. If I click on this button here, and I have the list of the, what I can say, companies. I have Acme, Cisco, Initech, and so on. And this gives you the opportunity to create multiple companies, multiple customers on a single instance. Why we need multiple customers on a single instance? Because from the point of view of a provider, like the person who's providing the instance, having all these customers on a single instance, they can make a global reporting, for example. From the tenant, from the view of the customer, domain A, let's say customer is Cisco or Acme that we saw just before, they can have a shared, shared instance. They can be part of shared instance. It can reduce that cost. I cannot go much more in depth. If we really need a real business use case of big portfolios of a lot of different customers, in order to say yes, these customers need a domain separation, they can be on one instance and we can have it together, and no, this customer we should have a separate instance because the requirement for that customer is different. And it's only, we can only I can come only to the conclusion, if we have all the portfolios of the customers and go on and say determine if the domain separation is needed or not. But we do have in the training. So if you go to the training, what is domain separation, we can go through like the theoretical explanation. For example, here you have the chart which is saying how we can determine the domain separation is needed or not. So we have the first question, logical data separation, which is easy to understand. Can the customer use logical data separation instead of physical data separation? If the question is yes, we can move on to the second one. So here basically what does that mean, using logical data separation instead of physical data separation? It means, does the customer is small enough? If their requirement is to have a whole infrastructure like servers and computers and so on, in that case it's big, so we need to have a separate instance. On that they will have that customer, on that instance we will have the customers. In the case is yes, we can use a logical data separations, like technically we can separate on a single instance. We can go on the next question. So we have to answer for every single question in this way in order to come to the conclusion or determine if the domain separation is needed or not. Again, let's view what is process differences. Process differences: does the customer process require less than 5% of change from shared processes? Which is like, this question is kind of unique. Shared processes, which means what? Which means here, if you come back, all the different domain, all the different customers that we have here, let's say Acme, McDonald's, or KFC, they are going to use the same application, let's say incident application, and each of the customers, they're going to have the processes. If their process is too much different, if there are a lot of changes will be happening in future, for example for a customer A, it is preferable not to do a domain separation, because the ideal thing is to have a shared processes and have less work. So if there is a lot of changes going on in future, it is not good to have in a one single instance and do as a domain separation. It's best to have a separate instance for that customer, because their requirements is too much different from the other customer that we have on a single instance. So that's one of the way to know if we need a domain separation. The third thing that we have to understand when it comes to domain separation, the domain separation have a hierarchy. So I have here the top domain. Top domain will have all the data, okay? And you have different domain here like Acme, Initech, Oceanic, and so on. These are companies. And under Acme, you have child domains, which is Acme Americas, Acme EMEA, so on. So what is important to understand here is the data which is in Acme EMEA won't be accessible for Acme Americas. So we are separating the data. We can even separate the the process as well. We can even separate the view, how the application incidents is visible to the user of EMEA and America. It's also changeable. This is all done on a single instance. This is a big advantage when it comes to small business size, and then put together all the domains separated on a single instance, okay, and also run a global reporting. This is also, we have to know how the hierarchy works when it comes to domain separation. Now let's move on to the practical one. So we're gonna create domain separated data. So we're gonna use the Need IT application and see how, when we create a record, how it is going to be different, how the view is going to be different, and how we can see the user, how we can change the user interface of the Need IT application, and how we can also do domain separation for business logic. For example, for the client script. Okay, so we are going to do 3 practical examples in order to understand how this domain separation works. So the first is to have the application Need IT. That's where we are going to work on. So Need IT application you can download from the GitHub repository. You have the instruction here, and make sure in the end that you create the branch name, domain separation, and the tag load for domain separation module. That is highly important. And once you have that done, you can go through here. We have to activate the domain separation. So I'm going to show you how to activate. All you need to do is to come to in this page, my instance. So you have to click on manage my instance, and you will get to this page, and you have action here. Click on that, activate plugin, and you have the list of the plugins available, and you search for domain support domain extension installer, and here you have activate. For some reason it's still showing me activate even though it's already activated. You can see here I have already my domain picker and all the domains are available here, but you have to do in this way. So I think it's best now to show you how really this thing works. So domain support domain extension installer, so you can click on activate and you choose include demo data. You choose include demo data, so it's going to have, once you have done that, you will have these things, right? And then the next one, what we have to do, you go to the exercise, create and view domain separate data, and you need to copy paste the scripts available here in the script background. So if you don't know where is the script background, just type background here. You will have this one system. So you go here, copy paste the script, and then make sure that the scope is global, okay? And then you run the script, and what is going to do this script is basically going to create Need IT groups and Need IT roles and users. So I'm going to show you, I have already run the script. So I'm going to show you the groups which is created. So it's created Initech Need IT user, Oceanic Airlines need IT user, Cisco, so on. For all the domains that we have here is created the groups and also the user. So I'm going to pick one of the groups here, and you can see group members, Anytech ITL manager, employee. So if I choose the user, and I have the role also created. Okay, so we don't need to do this thing manually. All you need to do is just run the script. You're gonna have this thing, and the important thing now is to view how we can do domain separated data. So how to do domain separation, how to separate the data in the domains within domain separation. Okay, so it's clear. So now I'm in the Need IT application here, and you have all the domains. Okay, so now I'm going to pick one of them, for example, Oceanic Airlines, and I'm going to create a new one. Okay, so here I'm going to choose the user which is already created, Oceanic Airlines, and let's say in facilities 2, and I'm going to put a date in future, and put test submit. Right, so I have created one record, Need IT record, which is specific to this domain. It won't be available if I change domain. Let's see if I change to, for example, this one. You can see it's not available. You cannot see it. This one is visible because it was created before I activated the domain separation plugin. That's why it's visible. Normally, you should not have a Need IT request or any request on the global request on a specific domain. This is kind of business rule. Okay, and now let's create, for example, Anytech. So I'm here already. So I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to just do one thing. I will show that a bit later. Let me configure the layout. Okay, edit this section. So this is part of the second exercise that I want to show you a bit later. So let me have, say, okay, this call. Okay, create new. So I'm going to create now for the Anytech ITL user, CDDs. Let's choose human resources 2, and I'm going to choose a date here, and it's going to be test as well. So just put it like this. So I have this one. Okay, it's only available for this domain, so we can only see on this domain level. So now if you want to see all of them, you can pick the domain top, which has all the data, so you can see the record created for Oceanic and the record created in Anytech. So if you want to see only for Anytech, all you need to do is just pick the right one here. So I'm going to pick this one, for example, and you have the record. That's how you can separate data. So you have a specific data for that domain. You have another specific record for the appropriate domain. Now you can do one more thing, which is you can even modify the layout. So I'm going to click, for example, here. I'm going to open. I'm going to change a little bit the layout that is here. I'm going to add few fields. So I'm going to just click on here, configure form layout. I'm going to choose, for example, let's click on edit here, created by, I'm going to put it here, put it on top, save it. Great. Go back to Need IT. Okay, so you can see here there is a new field created by, because I have changed the layout for this particular request. So whenever I'm going to create a new record for this domain, Anytech specifically, is going to just have the created by. Okay, so if I click on create new, you can see here this field is available. But if I change to, for example, Oceanic Airlines, you can see here created by is not available because we have only customized for that specific domain. So if I click on create new, it won't give me the field created by. Even though it was grayed out, it was just to show you how this thing works. So if I go back here, you can see created by is visible. So that's another way to change the view of the form itself. The view of the form itself is changeable, and it can be customizable, and it can be specific to the domain that we want, and it depends on the requirements of that domain, okay, of that customer. Now let's do another thing, which is like, let me put back to top so I can have everything. So I'm going to Anytech. No. Let's use the, okay, let's use the Oceanic Airlines. Here I have human resources, facilities, legal. So if I choose facilities, it will show me facilities 1 and 2 and other. And if I choose human resources, it will show me human resources 1, 2 and other. And if I choose legal, same logic is applying here. We have legal 1, legal 2 and other. So how this thing is happening because we have a client script running whenever we are going to change. But we can specify a unique client script for this one. So we can make, for example, if I choose human resources, just show me human resources 1, don't show me human resources 2. And we can make for facilities the same logic. We can make for legal the same logic, don't show me legal 2. How this thing can be done? So it's very simple. Let me pick first the right domain. So I'm going to load it. Okay, I'm on the right domain. All you need to do is click on the personalized list, go to configure, up, and then you choose client script. And you have all the client scripts available. If you open the Need IT application, you will see this client script for that specific application. Here, the one that I'm going to make changes is the Need IT request type option. So be aware that the changes that I'm going to make here is going to affect only this domain, not any other domain. So I'm going to click on edit, so make it editable, and remove few of the lines here. So I'm going to remove this one. So I don't want facilities 2 as well. I don't want legal 2 as well. Okay, and I'm going to save it. Okay, perfect, it's done. So at this point, if I go back, all, it's better to refresh. So I'm going back here. So let me reset password. So it's going to be much more faster. Okay, it's getting a little bit of time, so I'm going to, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna pick first the right application, Need IT, and here I'm gonna pick the Oceanic Airlines, that's the one where we are working on, and I'm gonna click on all. So I have this one, for example. I click on this level, and if I choose human resources, and you can see I have only human resources 1, I don't have human resources 2 because we have just deleted the line, the code that is written says make sure that you have human resources 2. We have deleted that line, and we have also deleted for legal. So you can see legal 2 is not here. Facilities 2 is not here. But this is very specific UI client script for this domain, so only for this record. So if I click on create new, it applies as well, so you can see here, right? But if I change domain, for example, if I go to Initech, sorry, and I have this record, for example, and you can see if I choose resources, I have facilities, have all the options available. Facilities 1, facilities 2, and other. It's not deleting the facilities 2, it's still available because we have done here a domain separated business logic. So this thing can be done. So it's highly useful when it comes to have multiple customers, to modify the view of the application, to modify the UI client script, and also have the data separated properly, right? So that's how we can do domain separation. Hope you got a general understanding of domain separation, and also how to do few practical example in order to understand better. And if you want to have more information, you just need to go here. We have all the training available. So in the beginning, pretty much the theory, and then we have the exercise for the 3 things that I've explained here. So create and view domain separate data, create and view domain separate user interface, and then create and view domain separate business logic. That's what we have done right here. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye.